Mars, y'all came from Venus. I'm feeling way too hot, high-headed, I got a fever. I came from heaven and made it through hell, now I got ether. Should've believed them, damn, you should've believed them.
She took a dab of that till she had cataracts. Grabbed the rack, she had a MAGA hat. I tapped the back to Adam's zap.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to Knotty Love Movement. It's your girl, Nikki, bringing you the latest and trending topics, celebrity gossip, recap on all your favorite reality TV shows, and my lifestyle vlog. Before we get into today's content, please remember to hit that like, subscribe, and that bell button so that you can be notified when I update content to my channel. And that bell notification is so important, okay? Because if you don't hit that all notify button, YouTube can unsubscribe you to my channel, and I want to keep all my Knotty crew involved with all the content I'm bringing to your area. Yeah, yes. So it's been a long day, but I have a few stories that I need to update for you guys. And before we get into today's video, make sure you leave comments and share my content on your social media platforms, and make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, and of course YouTube. All right, so let's get into it. So I have an update on a DL Monique saga that's going on right now, and stuff is just crazy. But I'm here to give my Knotty crew my opinion, and I want you guys to give your opinion in the comments. Okay, who do you think is BSing us right now on some real? Because Hollywood is crazy. But let's get into it. I got DL Hughley's response to Monique, okay? And I think it was very educated, his response. And he did not have to throw too many low blows to disrespect her. I mean, I don't feel like he's disrespecting her at all, because she started it. All right? She attacked the man's sexuality. She attacked the man's marriage. She even attacked the man's family dog. Oh. So let's get into it. So this is DL's response to Monique disputing the contract. And again, Knotty crew, her beef is not really with DL. You understand me? I just feel like she made him a target for whatever her agenda was. And I have content explaining it all from both sides, because here at Knotty Love Movement, we like to get both sides of the situation, and I don't like to be one-sided when it comes to my opinion. So let's get into it. Here is DL's response to what happened this Memorial Day weekend. Let's get it. Let's go.
In Brooklyn, in Houston, and I turned them down because I didn't think it would work. So after talking to a lot of people, and one of the very people in this room about how things are different, two of the very people in this room, as a matter of fact, and how things are different, and look at how things are coming around, I decided it would be wrong for me not to give somebody a chance based on things that they'd never done to me. That would have been wrong to me. And when she talks, she goes on her diatribe, and she talks about me having my feet under her table. That was at her invitation. I was doing a gig in Greenbelt, Maryland. She lived in Baltimore. She was having a fight party. It was, I think, Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. And sure enough, I came to her table at her invitation. And it was a wonderful time. As a matter of fact, it was based on that interaction, along with talking to people, I decided that I would do these gigs.
So there you have it. He's not hating at all. He tried to give her a chance. Okay?
And now I know what Tyler Perry knows. I know what Lee Daniels knows. I know what Oprah knows. I know what Steve Harvey knows. I know what Charlamagne the God knows. I know what Netflix knows. Saying yes to Monique is an occupational hazard. Now, we're playing a gig in Detroit this weekend. I know I'm going on at 9:45. I leave the hotel. I get there around 9. Monique had just gotten there. She's supposed to be there at 8:40. She had just gotten there, gone at 8:40. She got there at 8:38.
So she showed up late, you guys. And let me tell you something. Anybody that knows me, I'm I'm a very prompt individual, okay? Like, I feel like if you want to be late, you need to be communicating. Okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. She was late.
Monique was trying to do was to slow walk the show. She didn't end up getting on for 30 minutes. The oldest trick in the world is if I want to change the order and I don't have merit, I'll try to make people wait so long that everybody gets nervous and go, please just go on so we can avoid a conflict. That didn't happen. Monique got on stage. Monique actually felt like she had merit. She would have done one of three things. Either she would have took it up with the promoter, and she did, and the promoter said, we're going on, and whether you go on or not, that's a different thing. You would have not done it, but she knew she had to get on stage or she would have been in breach of contract. Or she would come to talk to me. She didn't.
Ding, 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 ding. So now we have another side of the story. She was late, which is I find people that are late, that's very disrespectful, especially when you have a planned event. You need to plan your life accordingly so that you could show up on time. And now I'm feeling like this whole thing is to cover up for the fact that she dropped the ball on her end, business-wise. And still, he has not disrespected this woman. And what I'm trying to figure out is why she made him, DL Hughley, the target of her night. Actually, I'm not even trying to figure it out anymore. I'm clear. Let's get Knotty Crew, drop down into my comments. Let me know what y'all think about the explanation DL is giving right now.
Right. And I emphatically emphasize this. She never once talked to me. I haven't seen Monique in years. I didn't see her at the venue before, after, or during. I haven't spoken or seen Monique. So if you really thought that you had a legitimate contract dispute, you would have come to me and said, hey, I have this contract and you have this contract. Notice not one thing on that contract, not one person she has on that contract, not one thing happened. Do you know why? Because it wasn't legitimate. And she goes on stage and she proceeds to eviscerate me. Not just me, but Steve Harvey, the sexual, my wife, my dog later on in subsequent conversation. Let me ask you something. What did any of that have to do with an alleged contract dispute?
Nothing. They had nothing to do with nothing. The contracts are the contracts. And guess what? DL does not draw up the contracts. The promotion company does. My point, again, I'm trying to figure out why she's attacking him, right? I think this is foul. In this day and age we in, this is the last thing the racist people in this world need to see us divided or have something like this. But I appreciate the way DL is handling it because he had every right to respond because she was defaming his family, his sexuality. He had every right to respond. So let's get it in. Let's go.
What did Steve Harvey have to do with your contract? What did I have to do with your contract? What did my dog have to do with your contract? What does my wife have to do with your contract? You wrote your contract, you and your daddy. You proceeded to say things that were so patently insulting that it was galling. It was galling. You asked in subsequent conversations why I have a dog, a support dog. What kind of person has a support dog? I have that dog because my father died. My children and family decided they would get a dog from where he was from, and I named the dog after my father. I don't have a dog to keep people away from me. I have a dog, so I have my father with me all the time. That is an act of love, which you know very little about.
Facts. How you want to attack the family dog? What does that have to do with your contract? Again, what does that have to do? He's right. Look, I'm a big fan of Monique, you know what I mean? But I feel like the way she handled this situation was very unprofessional, especially for her to be trying to get her foot back into the game. Like, this is not a good start. It's just not. You're already deeming yourself as a troublemaker. Let's go.
You proceeded to assault my sexuality. You have the temerity to assault someone's sexuality, a man's sexuality, given who you lay next to? None of that had anything to do with alleged contract dispute. You could have taken that up with a lawyer. You would have gotten out. You could have not gone on stage, but you knew you didn't have a valid contract. And you do what you always have done. You tried to weaponize Black femininity. You tried to turn that audience against me. You tried to burn everything down, like you do all the time. Who calls Netflix and thinks I can get $10 million because I did the Queen's of Comedy? Who thinks you can get on stage and still live off that? I was a king of comedy. You never hear me talking about it, because in this business, like any other, it isn't what you have done, it's what you do. That show was one I signed on to do. I made the quintessential mistake, the horrible mistake that, like Tyler Perry, like Lee Daniels, like Oprah, like all these people, of saying yes to you. And it is an occupational hazard. It is my fault. I have learned my lesson. You didn't just, and the thing that bothers me the most isn't the things that you said, because I know who I am and I know what I do. And I have a pristine reputation. Everybody who knows me know what I'm about. It's this whole, my dear, my.
And it's true. It's true. But one thing I can say, I understand why he's speaking up right now. Because it's in honor of his wife and his family. And look who next to him. She don't got to say a word. Because he going to say it all. But he didn't deserve this, you guys. Knotty Crew, I just need y'all to express how y'all, he didn't deserve the way she went on stage and tried to destroy him. Drop down into my comments. I feel like he is reading her respectfully, because she did not give him the honor or the respect that he deserves as a king. Okay? And one thing I don't like to see is our people divided over pettiness. But this had nothing to do with him. She's attacking the wrong person at the end of the day, you know? She's defaming his character for what? Y'all haven't talked. He has nothing to do with your contract. You have nothing to do with his. And you make this whole scene because you want to be a headliner. I mean, you just getting back into the game. Maybe you should just accept what you can get at this point, because like people are trying to recognize you. And I just think Monique getting her own way sometimes. I do. And it's not that I'm against her and her talent or anything, but let's get back into this video.
Babies, I love you for real, which is so transparently false. It is ridiculous. But the thing that was really the most annoying, the thing that was really the most bothersome, is after a terrible couple of weeks where people were being slain in Buffalo, where people were being slain, kids were getting slain in school, and people had come to a comedy show to get away from all of their problems, you besieged them with yours. The one contract that isn't in dispute is the one.
That's a sign of a narcissist, you guys. They turn situations and make them about them, because they not getting enough attention. Drop down into my comments. I think he real like fly with how he delivered this. Okay.
That the audience had with us to entertain them. But every single time, more and more, you spend half of your time talking about your grievances and what you didn't get, who did this to you. Listen, when you burn things up and you sit back to watch the results of them, she's literally set that stage on fire, said the most incendiary things ever, and I had to go on stage. And she has the temerity to call me a coward. A coward would have left. A coward would have said, I can't go. You didn't even want to go on when you had a contract that you knew that not to be true. You made up this whole narrative that you knew not to be true, and you played that out in front of the audience. And then I had to go on behind you.
Guys, on some real, like, what my opinion is, I don't think Monique was prepared for the show. I don't think she was prepared, and she went on a whim in a tantrum because she wasn't prepared and she didn't want to be wrong. So she tried to throw him under the bus as a result of it. Drop down into my comments. Let me know what y'all think, because the whole show was about her blasting him, not promotion. And to be quite honest, like the document she produced, like that didn't convince me that there was any conflict, it made more doubt for me.
And you know what you did? You sat back and you tried to watch your damage. You set the stage on fire and you watched what you've done. You know who does that? Arsonists do that. Arsonists set shit on fire and try to see the damage it does.
Facts.
But I blame myself because I know now what I didn't before. Saying yes to you is an occupational hazard.
Look, shout out to my brother. He took accountability for his decision making, and he was just trying to give somebody a chance. And we all do that. Like, we try to give somebody a chance and stuff like that, and they disappoint you or whatever. But she tried to drag my man after that. Like, really? Come on.
Not repeat. I don't blame you. I wish you well. But when you do the things you do, when everything's about you, when you're vitriolic, when you have all these fights with all of these entities, it is you. Precious was not a movie. Precious was an autobiography. That is who you are, literally. You mad at the contract you and Daddy wrote, your daddy? And I don't know why you call a man daddy and you pay for him.
Damn! You heard him.
Let's be clear.
No, let's back up.
It was not a movie. Precious was an autobiography. That is who you are, literally. You mad at the contract you and Daddy wrote, your daddy? And I don't know why you call a man daddy and you pay for him. That's a son.
Facts. That's all the way facts. She better be careful of the low blows she throw, because there may be some low blows out there for her, okay? That's a whole man right there. Take care of his man. Let me tell you something about DL. Let me tell you, I don't rock with his comedy style. I don't per se relate to it, okay? But I do not downplay his success and where he came from. And he's been on shows that I've watched about marriage and Black love and things like that. And him and his wife went through a time where he did not appreciate her, but they did the work to get on track. And I appreciate him having his queen right next to him during this whole thing. And she said nothing. She could say something. She doesn't have to, because he honors his queen. You get it, Knotty Crew? Like, I appreciate him coming out, because in the beginning, I was indifferent. I didn't, I want everybody to hug it out and get along. For sure. But Monique went too far. She went way too far. And I feel like she puts her personal emotion into the trauma she has experienced in her past, into her business. And that's where she goes wrong. That's where she goes wrong. That's just my opinion.
Let's be clear. I am not angry with you. I'm angry with me. I did what I knew not to be true. But I'm going to tell you something. When you burn and you destroy and you wreck, you are not a queen of comedy. You're a queen of ashes.
Woo!
And while I'm going to...
Where there's smoke, there's fire, baby. He said she the queen of ashes.
To work. And you get...
So there you have it, Knotty Crew. So Monique responded, okay? Let me try to bring this up. Her man responded, and I want to get what y'all think about her response. Like, because DL read her the riot act, you guys. Like, and he did it educated. And I don't really feel like he disrespected her. He pointed out some facts. But I don't feel like he disrespected her. So let's get into her commentary in response to him.
Would you rather your husband sleeps with Lee Daniels with a condom, or Corinne Steffens without one.
Breathe that in for a sec.
Now, for those of you who didn't hear it and you might just have joined the room, I want to take you back to that moment. This sister, a Black woman, asked me when they were playing this game called Would You Rather, hey, Monique, would you rather your husband sleeps with Lee Daniels with a condom or Corinne Steffens without one? Now, the question that I would ask anybody that's listening, is that offensive? Is that insulting? Is that going too far?
And how, when you are pro-Black or portray yourself as a pro-Black man, how is that helpful to the community to ask, would you sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom? Would you prefer your husband sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom or Corinne Steffens without? Because any way Monique speaks on it, what happens? You're downgrading the other person.
Yes.
And despite the fact that Monique and Lee were having a rift at the time, she refused to say anything negatively against them in that regard. She wasn't going to play that. But to your point, then what happened?
So DL was not there that day. I said to his team, let me call DL Hughley, because what I know is that brother ain't down like that. He gonna have a problem with y'all saying that kind of foolishness. So I get DL Hughley's telephone number and I call DL Hughley. And I said, hey man, I just did an interview with your people and this is what they trying to run. Like this is the game they trying to play. And DL's response was, that's just how we do. And that's what it is. I said, really, brother? So we attack families now? Like, what you doing? Like I said, that's just how we do. I said, DL, I would suggest you don't air that because I don't think it's gonna make you look good to the community. Now, if y'all notice, that never got aired and I never said anything. Through the years, I never said anything. I kept it to myself because what I knew was that I was gonna see DL Hughley again. Now, after that situation happened, it let me know for whatever reason, DL Hughley was not cool with me, for whatever reason. Then through the years, and I want y'all to hear me, please. Through the years, I've listened to this man talk about all that I'm not, what I didn't deserve. I was mentally ill. I was bitter. Me and my husband did poor business. I was selfish. I was fanatic. I was psychotic. Now, don't take my word, please. You can Google it for yourself.
Naughty girl. I'm over it. Like, I come from a place, like, you just address things in the moment. You don't hold on to things and then try to use it as an explanation for your bad behavior later. I'm not accepting that. I'm not. I think it's like now you got an explanation. You should have had the explanation. Like when you came on stage, you should have been like, yo, this MFer did me like this, that, the other, da-da-da. Nope, what you did was defame that man. And now you trying to use what he done in the past. And he been at your table. Okay, you invited him. Okay, to your house. And now all of a sudden, he all of this and that. Bullshit! Monique, bullshit.
Keep it for yourself. DL Hughley speaks on Monique. And through the years, my babies, I said nothing.
I don't care.
Because I knew that
maybe
they would
it's
come.
Because you're a blackball.
DL Hughley. Now, for every interview he's done, I didn't get it from nobody else's mouth. I watched it for myself. And I watched this brother sit down with that white cat, Vlad, and tell this white man all that I wasn't, as the white man told him all that me and my husband wasn't. And I watched D.L. Hughley go in. Now, it ain't that he just goes in on me. D.L. Hughley has a habit of saying freely what he wants to say about anybody.
Ice Cube.
Come on.
Angela Stanton.
Come on. Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
Like the young babies.
Islam.
The young babies, the rappers, Young Thug and Gunna.
Yep.
See, and let me tell y'all when I made that joke about you, D.L.
I just want to make one point. She may have all the valid reasons in the world, but she diminished the meaning behind her message with her delivery and how she did it, period. And there's no justification for that. And Monique need to be a grown-ass woman and own up with what she did. She defamed the marriage. She defamed the dog. That just kind of speaks to her character, in my opinion. And now you're trying to give all this justification for your bad behavior. And there's no justifying it. And you got this side piece next to you, daddy. Of course he gonna agree with everything you saying. You pay the bills, chick. Sugar mama ass.
I didn't think you would get tender in your feelings.
No, I didn't think you get so tender you have a flunky next to you.
Said names like that. Don't you think they would wind up in jail? Well, that's...
Sorry, you can tell her husband cannot read a contract properly. He is not equipped. Looking like a whole flunky next to her. It's disgusting. And he gonna agree with whatever she say. Okay, because she paid the bill. Just recognize when you being used. Like, and the plainest Jane said it best. Shout out to the plainest Jane. She developed patterns in the industry with women. Mary J. Blige, husband took her for the money. Wendy Williams, husband took her for her money. Like, when you want to recognize you being a flunky and it's your whole team behind you is why you're failing. Ain't that much fucking love in the world. Because if we ain't both winning, Nikki ain't here for it. Knotty crew, we got to both be winning.
You said, well, I thought I was coming back being clever, making a joke. Because you know, back in the day when somebody was on the DL, you know what they were. I don't think you're a homosexual man, DL. I was making a joke and I can't believe you got tender. See,
now he's tender about his sexuality.
For years.
This shit got some nerve.
You babies watching. Saturday night, I don't care where I went up on that stage, I was going to hand D.L. Hughley his ass. Because through the years, I've listened to this man speak so freely about my poor decisions, my life choices. And he spoke as if we had a conversation.
But why didn't you have a conversation when it happened? Why didn't you address it when it happened? Why are you addressing it now? You talking years that done went by. If you had a problem with what this man did, you had plenty of time to address the shit. And you use this opportunity. I feel like she set herself up for failure, you guys. Drop that into my comments. Let me know what you think. I think she was trying to get some get back, and it was an epic fail on her part. Because she got that dumbass nigga behind her. Trust me when I say it.
Down talking.
Now, please tell the good people out there what it is that made you go on his show to be blindsided by that question.
Monique is a narcissist. And that's why she got this flunky behind her. Because he validate all her BS. He validate all her BS. Why? She's a breadwinner. She bought her man. This is what happens when you buy a man. You get ingenuine love. It's not genuine. He gonna do and say what, he will suck her big toe on sight if she say it right now. Because she the breadwinner. And he a whole bum. He looked like a reformed, I'm just saying, all right?
In the first place, what was it about your relationship that made you think he was a comrade in comedy?
See, y'all, I'm one of them old school kind of girls. I'm one of them old school, round the way, down the block kind of girls. And when you get invited to my home, that means something to me. And this was back in the day. This was back in the 90s. And I was opening up for D.L. Hughley. And I was excited. He was doing a comedy club in Upper Maryland. It was the night of a Mike Tyson fight. So no one showed up. 10 people showed up to the show. It was no judgment because everybody understood when Mike Tyson fight, the world shuts down. So for whatever reason, DL had the date. They booked me on the show with them. I'm excited. We get there. It's 10 people. I say, hey, DL, so the night's not a total bust. Why don't you and your audience, because they came to see him, come on back to my home. We can watch the fight. I'll fix some food. Let's have a good time. So I invite this man back to my home. Now, I don't know about y'all, but
notice that she takes a low moment and highlights it. Oh, it was only 10 people, and I invited him back to my home. Like she doing him a favor. Narcissist. Let's go. Let's continue.
Home is my sacred place. But I invite him and his audience back so people wouldn't walk away disappointed that there was no show. So
now she is the savior. now she saves the night. She's the Robin Hood of the comedy show that night. I'm finding this all to be a joke. Like, I'm, and looking at things and stuff like that. Monique wrong for this. And she trying to justify it now.
Well, I felt like from that moment to the moment I did his radio show and they tried to come with foolishness, I always thought D.L. Hughley and I were cool. Always. Never knew that he had some.
If y'all was cool, why you had to blast him on the stage like that, though? I'm just saying. If y'all was cool, you can pull my man aside and have a conversation. Because, like, somebody I'm cool with, I'm not trying to embarrass them. I'm not trying to disrespect them or whatever. I'm going to pull them to the side respectfully and have a conversation. Like, look, I feel this way and that way about this chick full of shit. Sorry.
To say.
And had Brother DL, because regardless of the beef, that's still our brother.
Come on.
But had Brother DL simply said, I apologize that offended you. I apologize for catching you off. I could see how.
Okay, dum in the background. Like, how is he supposed to know he offended her if she didn't address it in the? I'm just saying, and Monique know better than this because she's from the East Coast. Like, we address things in the moment. You don't hang on to stuff and fucking then years later you go back. No, you're real gangster. You address shit in the moment, and that's East Coast. Dead ass. I'm pissed off about how she trying to be passive aggressive and explain away the bullshit she did. Because it was unprofessional. It was. And that was real. And I ride for her, but she keep making the same mistake over and over again. And if you really want your career, you'll stop butting heads with everybody. Like, there's a proper way to deal with things.
That could catch you off, because had my wife came in and you said something like that to her in reference to me, that would have been insulting, because we are supposed to be protective of one another in that regard. But beyond that, because when Monique told me,
guys, I just kind of want to fast forward past him because he fucking just is pointless. He just trying to be relevant.
Like D.L. Hughley will throw smoke and mirrors to try to distract from what it really is.
But you're not
doing the same video of what I said. If you watch that video, I didn't say anything insulting.
Yes, you
Reference to the
did.
man's
Yes,
family,
you did.
nor his
No
beautiful wife.
accountability, not
What I
true.
said is I feel sorry for your family. I
Why?
feel sorry for your wife. Now, the other part that I said, y'all know what it was, and I'm gonna leave it on the stage.
But to be specific, without being specific, you essentially said, I feel sorry for your wife having to perform a sexual act on a coward.
But you have no
perform
proof.
a sexual-
Excuse me, you have no proof. You just speaking out of turn. This is just sad that my people are tearing each other down like this. And I'm not even saying on DL Hughley part, because I don't feel like he was trying to tear Monique down. I think he's trying to handle things in the most professional way he could or whatever. But I feel like she low budget and throwing low blows unnecessarily to try to get attention. And notice the cleanup. Now she wholesome, natural hair. I feel like that's manipulation. And that's the only flunky next to her that's willing to fall for her bullshit. Oh, some real. That little peewee right there.
On a coward. There is nothing that was said about your wife.
Nothing.
Yes, it was.
Nothing.
It was directed specifically.
Whole
to-
liar.
So let me be clear.
They
again.
whole liars.
For all the shade droppers.
And now I'm wondering if y'all on drugs, on some real shit. Like, you whole lies, because you definitely insulted his wife, his kids, down to the dog. And now all of a sudden, then, Knotty Crew, drop down into my comments. This chick is bipolar, narcissistic. I'm not trying to diagnose her, but something wrong. Something wrong.
Candy bar biters. Saturday night, DL Hughley was going to get his ass handed to him because through the years, I've heard this man have a lot to say about me. And what the type of person I am, if y'all don't know by now, I wasn't going on nobody's radio show talking about how I felt towards DL Hughley. I wasn't going on.
But don't you got your own radio show? Just like DL Hughley went on his radio show to blast your ass. Why didn't you use your platform to blast his ass years ago? Shit, you waited for you to be on national live where people can record you, and now all of a sudden you got a problem with everything.
Where I was going to
I'm trying to get through this video, but Knotty Crew, I'm about to cut this chick off because I can't take no more of her in this flunky next to
everything
her.
I'm saying, please find it out for yourself. I want to address something.
I just want to notice, I want my Knotty Crew to notice her calm tone. She ain't had that same tone when she was on the stage. She was aggressive, hood, MF for this. You know what I'm saying? Attacking sexualities. Now all of us is she's so calm and peaceful and babies this and babies that. Don't fall for the okie doke, Knotty Crew. People be thirsty for that clout nowadays. Thirsty.
DL Hughley says, and then she brought in Steve Harvey. See, let me tell y'all something. This ain't new. I watched DL Hughley and Steve Harvey sit on his show and lie.
DL show.
On DL show and lie. I watched Steve Harvey say to DL, we had to edit the show because Monique was saying some crazy stuff and we had to protect her. And then DL says, yeah, man, you was just trying to protect her. And then Steve says, yeah, man, well, let me ask this question. When did they get into the Black women protection business? So that's why I said Steve Harvey.
You know what's crazy? That very well may be the case, but you diminish the whole meaning behind you trying to out the men in the comedy realm or whatever by the way you handled this situation. Because where's the proof that happened? Show me receipts. look, here at Knotty Crew, we need facts. We don't have no facts. We ain't believing you. You can say what you want, and that may be of your opinion, but it's not facts. They may have did something to you, but again, it's just like when I talk about, like, you know, people bringing allegations against the different R&B singers, you know, the Chris Browns and the Trey Songz of the world, you know what I'm saying? And the girls go straight to a lawyer to sue for money, right? Rather than going straight to the law to file a case, right? And get therapy and get help and handle things in an order where it's believable. You go straight for the money. Okay, so why didn't you address this when you had proof? Whatever. And she not that naive. She from Maryland. She from the East Coast. She not naive. She know about the streets. She know how people manipulate and operate. And you gotta have proof out here when it comes to the industry. This is just what she's saying. This is just hearsay, as far as I'm concerned. And she's wasting all of our breath and time. But Knotty Crew, I'm gonna report on it anyway because I started the story. Okay, so let's just finish this. Oh my God, I just can't. And her husband get more and more dumb as the video go along. I just want to give a trigger warning to my Knotty Crew.
So that night, DL, what you got back was the medicine that you've dished out to our community for so long through the years. And I want to address what you're trying to make the show out to be. Detroit, I want to say thank you for that amazing night because it was amazing. And when
I just want to make this point. She's trying to use the show as a platform to humiliate DL on things he did in the past, but she's never spoken out about how she felt about anything he's done in the past until this night. Okay? And I've seen the receipts, okay? I just want to make this point, Knotty Crew. His agenda was yellow and hers was white. So who is lying? What are the chances of the promoters sending out the agenda in all different colors? That just doesn't make any sense to me. And the document Monique I could produce that. Simple Word, Excel document, copy, cut, paste, you know what I'm saying? It's simple. Again, her beef is not with DL, and she's trying to use it as a reason to be disrespectful to other people, and I'm not buying it. And I'm about to cut this video off because I'm over it.
Says the people left disheartened and disappointed, and they were ashamed and embarrassed. Well, let's address that because I think it's only fair. From my understanding, Josh Adams kicked butt. From my understanding, Sister Ava Rodriguez kicked butt. Now, I can speak for me because I was there. When I walked out on that stage in Detroit, those beautiful people, they gave me a standing ovation.
What happened when you walked off?
Those beautiful people gave me a standing ovation. Now, what has happened in that moment, and this is for the comics who have so much to say. Come on, sweet babies, because this is comedy 101. When you are the headline.
Why she always say sweet babies when she wants somebody to agree with her? Just answer that question first. I'm not your sweet fucking baby, bitch. Tell the truth.
You have to meet the challenge, regardless as to who goes in front of you and what is said. You have to meet the challenge.
The only challenge your ass had was to give a comedy show to the people and not all that drama. And I go back again, Knotty Crew. I feel like Monique was late and not prepared for the show. And that's why she causing all this bullshit. Drop down into my comments and let me know what y'all think.
And what happened was when D.L. Hughley walked out on that stage, he could not meet the challenge. See, I've had to go up on stage after people have been booed. I got to go up on stage because I'm the headliner. I've had to go up on stage after people have talked ill about me in front of me. I still got to go up on that stage. And my job as the headliner is to make sure when that audience leaves, they leave feeling fulfilled. So because you could not step up to the challenge, D.L. Hughley, you have now made it appear as if the night was bad.
And no, you made it appear it was the night. The night was bad. You did that. By trying to handle your business and settle it on the stage instead of handle it in private. And I'm over her bullshit. I'm about to fast forward this. She made that shit bad by the way she handled it. It did not need to be handled on the stage. Okay, it could have been handled behind the scenes. She could have went to DL, talked to him about it when she got there. No, she was late because she wanted to be the headliner. And that's what it come down to. I'm over it because a man sounds stupid. I'm done. I'm gonna play the end of it for you guys. We out of here, Knotty Crew.
Is they get mistreated because they're feminine, because they happen to be women. So when a woman takes the course of facing her opposition head on, she's a bitch.
Well, what happens when a woman is wrong, all the way wrong? And this fool ain't gonna tell her the truth. You wanna know why? Because she paid the motherfucking bills, and that's just the fucking facts. You a whole sugar mama out here. And DL said it, okay? That's her son.
What was it called?
Act like a lady, but think like a man.
What does that have to do with anything?
What? Do y'all see what we buy into? I'm not equipped to think like a man. I'm not equipped to think like a man.
And what?
Nobody's requiring you to think like a fucking man. Only thing anybody requires you to do is be a fucking professional. Sorry, Knotty Crew. I'm cursing a lot tonight. I'm over it.
Does a woman have to think like a man in order to be accepted? And then when a woman thinks like a man and dealt with DL head on, now it's a problem again.
But I gotta go back to this, Daddy.
Go back to it.
I can't believe DL.
I can't believe you call that grown ass man daddy. That's what I can't believe.
Hughley, I can't believe Daryl Lynn, you are tender. Now that has nothing to do with your sexuality. It has everything to do with your heart. I can't believe you that tender. I can't believe, oh, and she was, what is the word he uses? Because
I can't believe Monique, you that tender. How about that?
Using one of those words.
It was vile.
Oh, yes. I can't. You, brother, you are in your feelings. I cannot believe that, DL. And that for the comedians, pay attention, baby. Pay attention. See, when you run your mouth about other people and you don't know who you're running up into, and then you get to running into a brick wall, and then you want to play victim and fall out and act like you've been damaged. Come on. Like I said, I feel sorry for your family, brother.
Isn't that what she's doing? She's trying to defend her bad behavior, you guys. That's just the bottom line. Nobody in her life holds her accountable. So she thinks she can act however she wants and have no consequences for it. And now she's starting to see the backlash. But Monique, you started this whole shit. You did. And you dead wrong. And you need to fucking woman up. Take accountability for it so you can move on and stop starting these fires. Like, get a better management team.
Yes,
so you're not in all these problems. The problem is the person that you lay with every night is managing your career, and he has no experience. He has no experience in reading contracts because it was obvious on all the advertisements that DL was the headliner and not you. And I really don't understand where the confusion was. I don't know where your documents came from, but I ain't see anything legit. Like DL document at least had the promotion company on his document along with his company and the agreement they came up with. Your document had your media company listed on it. Okay. I didn't see the promotions on it. Your headline list was white and DL's was yellow. And judging by the lifestyle that he lives, he ain't got no reason to falsify no documents and lie on you, girl. You ain't even that important. Like, he decided to do a show with you in it, and that's that. And because he probably was the biggest name on the ticket, you trying to drag him. And I'm saying, sis, you dead wrong, because that's your brother, your king. We all royalty. You dead wrong.
What we believe in is trying to put forth the facts because we love our people.
Yes.
And what a lot of individuals
I call Bush. Okay.
know is the people that he spoke about Monique having a problem with, he said they all are the same. And they're right.
I mean, maybe the common denominator is her.
They all were people who stepped to her and she stepped back. Now that's the problem. If you notice throughout the years, what are the details associated with what makes Monique?
I just want to say this. Forget throughout the years. Let's deal with the moment. The fire she started.
See, when they speak in generalities, it allows you.
See, this is what happened when you take care of a man and be his sugar mama. And he don't really got no education, no smarts behind him. Ladies, pay attention. She bought that whole man and fixed him all up. And that's why he's so loyal. And he wants to say whatever he needs to say to keep getting that money. You heard? Motivation.
Was difficult, but they never go.
He
into
working
the
right now.
See, the specifics would be Monique has a problem with Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry. Oprah Winfrey for multiple reasons. Besides the fact that as a Black woman who privately said, and here's that word again.
What do Oprah got to do with anything? They both mentally ill. And they probably doing something extra to keep their life happy right now. I'm just gonna say allegedly. And y'all can imply what you want, but you know what the heck I mean, Knotty Crew.
Privately communicated to Monique and I.
If it's private, see, these guys deal with a bunch of like, if it's private, like there's no proof. There's no proof. That's BS as far as I'm concerned. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. DL only spoke about the facts of the night of the show. The only other thing he spoke about outside of that, it was like when he got invited to dinner by her to the house. Okay? He dealt with present day. This don't have nothing to do with what happened in the past. And y'all all sound stupid. Monique, your husband, daddy. Y'all sound dumb as hell.
Campaigning for an award was right and it was fair because everything she did was up on the screen. In addition to the fact that she had no contractual obligation to do anything for Lionsgate. When you have Tyler Perry, who privately admits the same thing, but also says, anything they ask me to do is what I'll do. When you have a billionaire who says, anything they ask me to do, I'll do, what begins to happen is they'll use his actions of compliance to
That shit don't have nothing to do with nothing. I'm over it, you guys. Drop down into my comments. Let me know what the hell you think about Monique and her husband's response to D.L. Hughley. I felt like it was very uneducated and it has nothing to do with nothing. Until next time, Knotty Crew, I'm out. When
Real niggas came from Mars, y'all came from Venus. I'm feeling way too high-headed, I got a fever. I came from heaven and made it through hell, now I got ether. Should've believed, damn, you should've believed.